Good morning and welcome to the lifestyle segment of the weekend show.
Good morning.
Aisha, good morning. It is always a pleasure having to discuss pressing issues in Nigeria. Today we are looking at the high cost of living in Nigeria. As the meme says, even the high cost of living is after the living now.
Literally.
And the issues like there is hike in fuel prices, there is food insecurity, there is a lot of issues, and you have to name it. Yesterday was International Day for Poverty, and the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics gave a report that over 133 million Nigerians are living in multidimensional poverty. Multidimensional is not just lack of income resources, it is also lack of access to basic needs, food, shelter, healthcare, education, which ought to be our right as humans. And these are the things that we have to discuss today to see what are the ways forward, what are the strategies, what are the mechanisms that young entrepreneurs, young people, families can actually do to mitigate this pressing need.
Honestly, thank you, Lucy, for breaking that down and letting us know that this is not something that is just within Nigerians, but actually a research fact. And there's been something that we've also witnessed as Nigerians. And it's a very important conversation we're having this morning. Joining us this morning, we have Honorable Idris Kalgo. Thank you for coming back on the weekend show, popularly known as Idris Kalgo on Instagram. You are welcome to the
Thank you.
weekend show.
Nice to be here.
And then over here, we have Mr. Kelvin Simon, who's the CEO of Ekele Kelvin Helping Heart Foundation. Good morning, Mr. Kelvin.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for
morning.
joining us again this morning. So when it comes to high cost of living, it's even some persons actually debunk the fact that the worst is over. Like they said, that we are actually, there is economic stability now, that the Nigerians, we are on the projection of progress when it comes to cost of living, but that is not the reality that we face. They give us a lot of statistics that things are actually better, but it is not better when you go to the streets. People still cannot afford housing to even live in Abuja. People that work in Abuja cannot even live in Abuja. You see that even families now are trying to choose between feeding and sending their kids to school. What are your perspectives on this matter?
Well, it's so unfortunate. Sometimes I used to ask myself, like, who do we offend in this country that God is punishing us with these bad leaders who doesn't even care about the life of the people or the citizens? In a situation whereby, put aside even those who are not even working, talk about the civil servants. Okay, now they have a job, but even the civil servants, a civil servant now, the minimum wage is now 70,000 naira. Can you buy a bag of rice with 70,000 naira?
You can't.
You have children? Not, I think the least most of them are, you see them with 4, 5, 6 children.
Exactly.
Even in the government schools, which the government have abandoned for the poor masses, the still poor masses cannot afford to send their children to the government schools because they can't afford to pay that school fees of 20,000 or 30,000 naira. They can't. So everybody now is now in the private schools. And then these our leaders are busy spending money lavishly, traveling abroad, doing all sorts of things. Hospitals. You can't even go to hospital. You can't dare even do it because you can't afford.
My biggest fears is
because
having to get so sick and having to go to the hospital. I'm worried that, the bills I would get or somehow the treatment, I don't know, it doesn't.
sometimes you
doesn't
even
add
tell
up.
yourself it's better for you to just pray over it.
You know, someone said
You don't
that,
need to go to hospital.
that you are one sickness away from becoming a charity case in Nigeria.
Absolutely. And then you look at the lifestyle of our people in government. A president who doesn't even know what is happening in the country. Absolutely, he doesn't. All he cares for, he always sit in the villa with the air condition, feed them with fake things. What I mean, if he knows or not, who else? Nobody cares. But he's busy pardoning drug lords, murderers.
Oh,
What about
strong
children?
word, Honorable Idris.
No, it's not a strong word. It's
Your
there.
opinion.
It's
Your
now, and I'm
opinion,
entitled
yes.
to it. But it's there.
That is true.
It's there. He pardoned them. How many of them? More than 20-something of them. Why can't he channel his energy to the Nigerians? People are suffering, dying on a daily basis. How much is fuel per liter now? Go and check how civil servants are suffering. He has turned almost everybody in Abuja to a taxi driver now. Because you can't afford to buy fuel 10,000 naira. Like, for example, if you're staying in Kubwa or around Suleja, for you to come from that side, you have to spend like 10,000 naira to go to work and come back. So all of them have now become taxi drivers. When they're going for work, they will pick passengers. If they're going back, they will still pick passengers. How much is bread now? A common man cannot buy bread.
And
It's very expensive. Go and check, you can see almost like 3,500 bread.
To get towards what we can do as Nigerians. Because you know,
to mitigate these problems out
we've
there.
been repeatedly stating these problems, blaming whether it's the government.
There's nothing you can do for now because the government needs to provide the atmosphere for you to do a business. The atmosphere is not there.
Let us bring Mr. Kevin to the conversation here.
Well, like Honorable is saying, you understand, we get to understand, I say, what we get to understand there that things are not really okay with the country.
That's true.
But we need to find solution towards the problem. Like year to years now, we run foundations and NGOs. We have this opportunity to give people, the children, things that we least expected, things that we ourselves, we know we can afford. But within these previous years, it has been tough times. Instead of you running a program for monthly basis, you can do it for 4 to 5 months because you have to save to get what you need for these children, you understand? I understand where it's coming from. The government is not something that we really need to talk about now. We, the masses, to have our own problems. Like you going to the market to go and get something that is more cheaper. It's preferable to be safe and sell in a high cost. I see people doing storage. And when the prices fall down now, most of them are regretting of the storage they did. So when we are talking about things, I think we need to get solutions to it. Like NGOs now, we that works in NGOs, we find it very difficult to survive it. Because this NGO comes from bodies like us to partners together to help us see how they can help these children, help those ones in need of food. The hospitals, he talks about it. Our hospitals are bad. When you go to the hospitals today, after your treatment, they give you unusual bill that you least expected. I took my son to the hospital a few days back, and the bill they are giving me is better I treat my boy from the house.
Herbal treatment, that's one thing.
You understand? So we need to find solutions. And blaming the government, we the masses to have to watch what we are doing.
You know of so many private hospitals that are so costly. They say it's because of maybe their electricity bill, their staff payment bill. So private hospitals now have become like a very big deal. So if you can't go to public hospital, you can't go to private hospital.
And then, like, it was just yesterday when I was having a conversation with someone, and then she said that her niece was actually sick, and they had to spend hours looking for a hospital to admit them. And then eventually they found a private hospital, and they charged them on the spot 500,000 naira.
So is that the government's fault now for that to happen?
Absolutely, it is.
It is because we're talking about the fuel.
Because even the government provide all these facilities for us, we won't be there.
True.
We won't have all these issues. But unfortunately, even commissioners, they hardly even stay in the country for treatments. All of them, they fly abroad for treatments. They don't even know what is going on. Our nurses, our doctors are busy flying abroad, moving abroad for better work to do. Then what do you expect from that? But I didn't mean they patronize these people. They stand, they make sure we have all this equipment in the hospital and everything. Why would we be happy? And when you say about the bills, the Nepal bills, whose fault is it? Is it not the government?
In tariffs
I didn't mean, if the government, if we have at least adequate light, electricity, we won't be talking about all these things.
And a lot of persons have resorted to solar panels.
In Nigeria,
it's very expensive now.
Very expensive.
In Nigeria, even you yourself in your own house, if you stay complete 24 hours with light, you'll be wondering, like, what is going on?
What is going on?
I didn't know going to take this light today. So these are the things where we put government ahead, because government is the one that's supposed to put everything in place so that things may follow. But you talk about people doing businesses so that they can stand on their own. How can you do business when you don't have the atmosphere? The issue of food, of everything. Go to the north, you can barely go to farm.
Honorable, so obviously, like, we are actually looking for solutions, like these strategies. How can families in Nigeria cope with this situation? What is a way out for us? Like, even you mentioned holding the government accountable. a lot of persons don't hold the government accountable the right way. We do a lot of complaining and not necessarily having like concrete ways forward that we can actually do that. There are a lot of pressures that civil society put on the government, but then an average citizen obviously just folds their hands and then they complain about the situation. Most of the times they don't even know these processes, their rights on how to go about holding the government accountable. So what are the coping mechanisms that families, young entrepreneurs, people in Nigeria can do to cope with the high cost of living?
I always put government first. The reason is this, because government lay the foundation. The youths or the families, you can as well go into small scale businesses, farming, which is very much fine. But what if you don't have the level ground for all these things? What would you do? What if there's no way for you to go to farm? What if there's no way for you to even acquire the knowledge for you even to start a business? Do you understand what I mean? Because you can't just build a house like that. You have to have a foundation. That is where the government comes from. So the people, all we want from the government, if we can have peace, security, fine. And if we can have light, electricity, at least some businesses can run. You can have people like Baba and Shop, so many small scale businesses. How many businesses crashed because of electricity? Because they can't afford to stand it. Our advisors at home, those who doesn't even have job, can do all this Zobo business, Kunu business, but they can't because there's no electricity. And they can't be powering their fridge with generator. How much are they going to sell it?
Cost of living.
So what we are saying is simple. It's not like Nigerians are lazy. But the atmosphere for you to do all this business is not there. That is the biggest problem we are facing. Go to our secondary schools now. We are busy graduating students that doesn't even know what they are doing. A student that cannot even write a letter, cannot even spell. In university, go and check. Whose fault is it? If they don't have that knowledge, what do you expect? And then you go back to history. For example now, okay, let's say, for example, I want to be a doctor, for example. I want to read MBBS. JAM will decide your future. JAM will change it for you.
Change the course.
When you go to university, university will say, no, go here. From there, you have lost the zeal to have passion for what you want to do. So all these things are problems. And we don't seem to care about all these things.
Mr. Kelvin.
For my own take on it is that this power source, electricity, will help small-scale business grow. And if you look at the small-scale business growing up in Nigeria, the taxation coming upon them, most of them cannot survive it. A lady running a small-scale business, and they are bringing bills upon bills. This government, this revenue, this revenue, this revenue. You've not even started generating anything. And the bills were too much. If the power section can be set up and the insecurity can be resolved,
there'll be
things will be a bit better. Like somebody working in the government section, they're paying him good salaries. The salary they are paying them now, even me, it cannot take me for a week or two.
Before we even get into salaries.
Yeah, you understand? You understand? So, please,
so
we need to work on the power section.
I really hope
I think the government, that's the role they have to play. And this insecurity is destroying many lives and properties. The farmers cannot go to farms anymore. The people living in comfortable, they cannot even live in their house comfortable anymore. So I think we need to work on it, and the light is the major thing, you understand? If the small-scale business can grow, Nigeria will be a better place for everybody to stay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kelvin. That's a fine place to leave. This is a very strong conversation, and I think it's deep. Thank you so much for sharing your insights this morning.
Thank you.
And there you have it, dear viewers. This is the end of the lifestyle segment. Today we have actually learned a lot in how to actually cope with the high level or high cost of living in Nigeria. And small-scale businesses, the government ought to be held accountable to make sure that insecurity is put at bay, salaries, education, every sector have to come together to make our Nigeria a nation to be proud of. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we have more coming your way on The Weekend Show. Don't go anywhere.